Everyone, welcome to another short video. In this video, we are going to look at applications, application groups, and application filters in Palo Alto Firewall. So let's first look at the applications. What is an application? An application is basically a label assigned to the traffic based on its specific characteristics. So let's look at the applications which are present in the Palo Alto firewall. So as of now on my firewall, I can see there are 4,606 applications. They are divided into certain categories and subcategories along with their respective risk as well, and also if they have tags and along with their certain characteristics like if they're capable of file transferring, etc. So let's open an application and see what is inside it. Let's open any application. Let's take this 100 bow. Click on this and you can see what's the name of the application. What are the standard ports used by this? Is is it depends on any other application. So if in a rule you want to allow 100 bow, you also need to allow these I would say these specific applications if it depends on other applications. Implicitly uses. So if there are any other applications this application uses, if you allow this, then access to them also will be allowed. Then those will be listed here. So additional information about this information is listed 100bow.com and Google and Yahoo. If you click on these links, these will open the respective websites, which will provide you more information about this. Now you can see there are certain characteristics listed for an application. Is it evasive? Is it used by malware? Is it capable of file transfer? Has known vulnerabilities and prone to misuse, tunnels other applications. Such these characteristics are listed for every application. And then what are the TCP timeout for this application? Half closed connection. And then TCP time wait. What if app ID is enabled or not? So basically App ID is the firewall engine that helps to recognize the applications in the traffic streams and yeah, based on its specific characteristics. So yeah, if there will be certain applications which will give you an option to disable the app ID. So if you disable the app ID, then Palo Alto will not match that application in the traffic streams. So if the app ID is enabled, then only that application is matched in the traffic streams. And also about the classification of the application, what category it belongs to, what subcategory, what is the risk score. So you can modify these settings where you see the customize button including the risk and rest of the things stay default, and some applications you cannot disable the app ID. Mm, uh, that's by the design they are provided by the Palo Alto. And some of the apps for whom you cannot disable app ID is, if some application is implicitly used by other applications, then you cannot disable it because that then becomes the base application for them to work really and the firewall to detect. So let's find out an application that we can really disable, and I'll show you. And you can also provide your custom tags to the application by clicking on edit button, and there is a short description of the application as well. Let's close and let's find out an application that might have the, I think this one has the disable option. Yeah, you can see there is an option to disable it. So if you click on this, then Palo Alto will not match this application in the traffic. Now it also have a tag, you can see web app. Now let's close this application. I'll clear all the filters. If you do not have access to firewall and you want to know whether the Palo Alto has a specific application or not already, then you can always go to this URL applipedia.paloaltonetworks.com, and it has a list of all the applications that Palo Alto knows about, listed in the similar way as on your firewall with the category, subcategory, technology, risk, and characteristics. Of course, it won't have any applications that you create by yourself, but it will have all the general applications that all the Palo Alto firewalls will know about. And yeah, you can also create your own applications by clicking on add button. You need to give your application a name, a description, select it to put into a category. You cannot create your own category, so you need to decide the category whatever are listed in the drop down. Similarly for the subcategory and also for the technology. And then parent app, if it has a parent app to it, then you can choose that. Risk, what should be the risk for it? Characteristics, choose the characteristics required. Is does your application is capable of file transfer? Check the box and the Palo Alto will say yes, it can transfer. And under the advanced section, you can see if there are any default ports that the application uses, or what IP protocol it uses, you know, that you can give the number here as well, and what ICMP type, what ICMP6 V6 type, or none. If there are no specific, layer 3 or layer 4 characteristics, then you choose the none. Define the timeout values here: TCP timeout, overall idle timeout, and then UDP timeout, half closed, and then the time wait. Scanning, if you want, Content IG engine to scan this application for file types, viruses, and data patterns, then you can check these boxes, and then you can write the special signature for your application. This is optional. If you want to define the things here, then fine. Otherwise, you can define a signature as well. Signature is basically the layer 7 properties of the traffic that will help to categorize the traffic uniquely in all of these applications. So I have already created an application which works fine for me. If you see this port quiz is not a well known application. If I try to search it here on the Palo Alto's Applipedia, you'll see there is no such application. So let's close it. And in here I have created this port quiz application. I have put it into the general internet uh, category with the subcategory as internet utility. It's a browser based application. Risk is one, it does not have any specific characteristics, no layer 3 or layer 4 characteristic. I have mentioned everything stays the default. And then in the signature section I have put a signature for this application. And in my signature, within a transaction is basically a a request and a response complete is a transaction, and a session is basically, you can consider an HTTP post request. So there is a ordered condition match. I want to match all the conditions coming into the order. I have written only one condition, and that condition says in the traffic you do a pattern match, and you match the HTTP request host header. So when there is a get request, there is a HTTP host header in that request. If that contains this, then you match this application on that traffic. That's how I have defined this application. There are more options to be defined in there. Let me show you again. Other than pattern match, you see a greater than, less than, equal to, these all are you can use based on your requirements. And then other thing is I wanted to talk about, yeah, that's it. Then you can use these applications into the rules. So you do not need to define, allow port 443. No, do not allow any port 443. Allow all the ports, but match the traffic at layer 7 uh, with that specific HTTP request host header. If it is found, then the application will be matched to the port quiz. So in today's world, layer 3 and layer 4 application has, is not a very good way to identify the traffic, because certain applications can modify the port and can slip through the ports. So suppose right now telnet is running on 23, but I can configure it to run on 8080. Not a problem. And I can configure any other, like I can run HTTP on port 23. Then if telnet is allowed, then HTTP will also pass if you have a layer 4 firewall. But if you have a layer 7 firewall, it will open the packet at layer 7 and it will try to see what are the characteristics of the traffic at layer 7, and then identify the application. So that's a better way to control the access and provide the security to your infrastructure. Let's talk about application groups. So if you click on application group is nothing but just a group of application. Suppose you have to allow 10 applications in a group, but you create a group for it and then you put the entire group there. So let's create app group 1, and I can add I'll browse the applications. Then I can add the applications whatever you want. Suppose I add these applications. I hit OK. Then my application group is created, and I can use this into the policies. And then if I go to the application filter is a really good way to categorize some applications as per your filter, and they become part of this specific filter. So if I click on add, And let me show you. I'll click app filter, or I can say all, one moment, all risk 5 apps. Uh, in general, one moment, general apps. In general internet, I'll say. So that makes more sense to me. Okay. So if you select here general internet and then you select risk 5, so all of the general internet applications that have risk 5 have become part of this filter. And there are overall 75 applications. You can see, you can also see all of them and then hit OK. And application filter all risk 5 can be at most 31 characters. Okay, the name is a bit longer. I will just do it this and that's it. Yeah, so you can see it now contains all the RISC-V applications which have category general internet. Now, how do we use it in the policies? So in the past, when there were layer 4 firewalls, we used the only information of TCP and UDP ports in order to identify the traffic between source and destination. 23, yeah, telnet, 22, SSH. That's not the case now. Now at layer 7, my Palo Alto firewall opens the packet and tries to identify what is the application on this traffic. So if we go under the application section, you can mark the applications here. So just click on add and you can see these are the applications listed here. And you can also see the application filters. Let me see all. If I type there all, I need to find, yeah, you can see my app filter is also listed here. And I can also find out my group as well. That will be here. I believe the name was app group something one. Yeah, you can see I can add all those things in here, or I can select any service and URL category. So if you select your application default, that what that will do, that will, there are some default ports listed when you create an application. So that ports will be allowed by this rule, but only for this application. But if you select a custom port, then that port will also be allowed, but only if that app. So if I allow here 8080 and I have selected application at telnet. So telnet will be allowed, but only on the port TCP 8080. If it runs on 23, no, it's not allowed. And then, that's how you can use your applications in the rule. Application default will, you do not need to select the port. They will use the default one, or you can put the port here and then select application here. Uh, that's it about applications, application group, and application filters. I'll also tell you about one more thing. So suppose right now I have opened Facebook and I'm browsing the Facebook and looking at the news right now, and I open the chat box, and then all of a sudden the application in the Palo Alto will change from Facebook base to Facebook chat. And that is known as the application shift. In case of an application shift, Palo Alto reevaluates all the policies and then checks if Palo Alto chat is allowed or not. If it is not allowed, the chat on the Facebook page will not work. So that's a very important concept known as application shift. And application can be determined based on I see three ways. One is well written signature, other with the help of protocol decoders, and the last option is the heuristics based approach to determine an application. That's basically the behavior of the application. So that's it about this video. Have a good day. We'll see you in another video.